In the 2008 debates, Barack Obama and John McCain were asked which of a number of issues they would solve first. McCain did not prioritize, but Obama did. He said, achieving energy independence for the United States. Many will point out that, to this point, that issue has not been his #1 priority. How high a priority will achieving energy independence be for you, and how will you go about making that happen? Mr. Chlapowski.
My initial effort would be on generating the cheapest energy available for industry. And this involves utilizing one of our greatest natural resources that we have, and this is our shale oil gas. Right now, this gas up in North Dakota and Montana is being flared. You have no pipeline being built because this is being stymied by environmental concerns and efforts. And we have millions of miles of pipelines in this country, and they can be built double line, engineered so that leak detection is there, no spills are occurring. And so these concerns can all be addressed. And we have to have the lowest cost of energy in order to re-attract large industry. We're going to reduce manufacturing and these industries' corporate tax rate to bring them back, generate jobs, and in our energy policy, we will work to balance trade and at the same time get more energy independent with our natural gas resource. An economist, if you're doing a study, you use your cheapest raw material to help you benefit your business, and these businesses will survive. And so when we look again at solar energy in Solana, it's about 65 times more expensive to put in a cogen gas plant. If you look at solar, it's 10 to 35 times more expensive. So we need to choose what's best economically for the country.
Mr. Barnett.
As president, you don't have a lot of power other than veto and executive orders. So you can't say what you're going to do. You can say what you're going to try to do. Well, energy independence rates very high for me. Because right now, you're all being held captive to the gas pump, to oil costs to heat your homes. Solar energy is expensive. And the rate that it actually stores energy or provides energy for you decreases yearly. It's not guaranteed to last that long. 30 years, I think, is the max.
Independence in the near term for oil, even whether to down the road with the Bakken or anything else, even if they were to stop shipping oil to us, or we were stopped buying from the Arabs in Canada and Mexico, our total economy, trucking, all of this travel would come to a screeching halt. We live in a world economy. We will buy some oil when it's out there. We're lucky they sell it to us. Now, having said that, you could take the stance that, yeah, let's allow more drilling in the Gulf. Let's allow more subsidized oil from the Bakken. Even then, if you do that and you exclude out the world market, then gas will really shoot up because you won't have competition from the world community. In the short term, we won't have energy independent. We have to recognize that. Longer term, we should be, as Mr. Barnett said, looking toward ways of weaning ourselves off fossil fuels that we have to go out of the country for. There was an article in the paper that in the Atlantic Ocean, they're having 200 square miles off the coast of Maryland and Virginia and Rhode Island, I think, that they're having bids on to put in wind farms 10 miles off, and that those have a potential in the Atlantic of 1,000 gigawatts. That's 1,000 megawatt plants. So we should be looking toward those, but recognizing realities.
Mr. Chlapowski, 1 minute follow-up.
Being a scientist in training,
we've got to start thinking again, American interest energy solutions. And they're there.
Mr. Cross.
The reality is that right now the world consumes 80 million barrels plus of oil a day. We consume in the United States 20 million barrels of oil a day. We produce 7 million barrels of oil a day. We cannot have
And my father had a lift easer device, which was a windmill that was almost totally balanced, you know. And I don't see wind as feasible because of the long-term problem of storage. And in England, they just recently released a study that said you have to have backup because the wind always doesn't blow. And over in West Texas, we had this problem when all the wind stations there went without wind, and we had a problem. So you need some kind of reasonable policy that use your resources.
Mr. Barnett.
I would say this, let's go back to the wind energy that you were talking about. They've already done studies to store the energy in the railroad tracks. China has just released their study that in the near future, you could actually be storing it in the concrete that you're driving on the roads. It is there, it's available. We have a means to do so. We have a means to take advantage of it. It's not something that we have a problem storing. Let's go to another one, hydrogen engines. Our government 3 years ago tested a hydrogen Humvee that actually ran on water. Why can't we put that technology out to the public? It's something that's there. Again, we cannot keep withholding from our people the technology that makes things less expensive and more attainable.
Mr. Cross.
We have to be looking to the future. A government has a job to do that and make sure we have sufficient energy down the road. Right now we have, for counting electrical and transportation, 22% natural gas, 22% coal, 40% oil, 8% nuclear, and 8% renewable. We need to boost renewable to about 25%. We need to have subsidies or incentives of some sort to do that, like a 5 cent per kilowatt subsidy to electric utilities to get further into wind, solar, geothermal, and other forms of renewable energy. The automobile industry, we could have a subsidy to the automobile industry for cars that get over 60 miles per gallon in oil.